This past year has been challenging for all of us, but what makes us powerful, what makes us able to make it through, what gives us strength and purpose and persistence is love. Without love, staying home to avoid the pandemic is a source of anger and frustration. But with love, we can restore more easily in the knowledge that we can rest more easily in the knowledge that we are keeping ourselves and our loved ones safer and setting a good example for those in our circle of communication. Without love, we can succumb to fear. Fear of the pandemic, fear of vaccinations and their potential side effects, fear that the dark times from our past when certain populations and certain races were deemed less than human and experimented on with unproven therapies and even harmful substances have returned. With love, we can begin to trust that the scientists who created the vaccines are working on behalf of the many, not just the few. I've already had my first dose of the vaccine, and I'm encouraging my loved ones to get vaccinated as soon as they are able. Love helps us trust that the recommendation from experts working on the front lines to their friends and family to get whichever vaccine is available to them is a good one, and take heed to it, making plans to get ourselves and our loved ones vaccinated as soon as possible. With love, all things are possible. With love, we can support each other and our community in many ways. With love, we can see those who need to feel seen and support those who need supporting. When your spirit needs lifting, remember that what we do every day, every single day, serves a greater purpose than our own day-to-day lives. What we do each day, doing the right thing day after day and encouraging others to do the same, serves the greatest purpose of all, love.
now we'll enjoy Ted's opening hymn, number 95.
Submix, unmute in the room. There we go. So we're still declining to do congregational singing for the time being, for the safety of all of us. So it'll be just me, but you can sing along in your hearts. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Good morning, everyone. Wave a hand in the back if you can hear me. All right. Since you have not heard me preach before, by the way, I'm Dianne Daniels. I guess I should introduce myself. Volume is not something I'm normally short on, so if you can't hear me, let me know and I will turn up the volume. Our responsive reading this morning is found in your gray hymnal at number 594. And while you are turning to that section of the hymnal, I'll introduce myself a little bit more. Born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, now living in Norwich, Connecticut. I am a third-year seminarian at Star King School for the Ministry and serving my last 4 months soon as the intern minister at the Unitarian Society of Hartford. I've been a member of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Norwich for over 20 years, my home congregation, and I am blessed and highly favored to have the Reverend Dr. Adam Robersmith, if I mess up his name, as my continuing intern supervisor, because you may have heard our ministers in Hartford, Reverends Kathy and Heather Ryan Starr, have relocated. And while I miss them a lot because they're wonderful people, I am excited to work with Reverend Dr. Adam because I've been associated with him through other UU avenues. And so it's not a loss, it's a gain definitely for me because I get to be exposed to his experience and to you, this lovely congregation in this lovely building. Our responsive reading. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We believe that all people should be treated fairly. We affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth. We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We affirm and promote the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process. We affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And last but certainly not least, we affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Please join now in the unison reading of the affirmation, which is also in your order of service. Everybody ready? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. One of the things that makes us as Unitarians and Universalists and Unitarian Universalists special is we're flexible and we can roll with it. Our time for all ages this morning is the text of a lovely book I found while doing some searching for materials for this sermon called Wherever You Are, My Love Will Find You, written by Nancy Tillman. I wanted you more than you will ever know, so I sent love to follow you wherever you go. It's as high as you wish it. It's as quick as an elf. You'll never outgrow it. It stretches itself. So climb any mountain, climb up to the sky. My love will find you. My love can fly. Make a big splash. Go out on a limb. My love will find you. My love can swim. It never gets lost, never fades, never ends. If you're working or playing or sitting with friends, you can dance till you're dizzy. You can paint till you're blue. There's no place, not one, that my love can't find you. And if someday you're lonely, or someday you're sad, or you strike out at baseball, or you think you've been bad, just lift up your face, feel the wind in your hair. That's me, sweet baby. My love is right there. In the green of the grass, in the smell of the sea, in the clouds floating by at the top of a tree, in the sound crickets make at the end of the day. You are loved, you are loved, you are loved, they all say. My love is so high, so wide, and so deep. It's always right there, even when you're asleep. So hold your head high, and don't be afraid to march to the front of your own parade. If you're still my small babe, or you're all the way grown, my promise to you is that you're never alone. You are my angel, my darling, my star, and my love will find you wherever you are. You are loved.
Please stand and join me in singing the Doxology. be seated. The voluntary offering is a spiritual practice for us. It reminds us first that we alone are responsible for the strength and effectiveness of our faith, for our own sake and for the sake of others who need what we can offer. And it reminds us also that we have chosen freely and gladly to come together here this day and every day. Our recipient this month is Camp Current. Your generosity makes a difference for all of us. Ushers, please come forward. May this offering be given and received with hope and gratitude. May these gifts sustain the work we do together, the life of this community, and the wider world of which we are part. Please rise in body or spirit. Nope, I'm wrong on that. I'm doing the reading. The reading this morning is called It Is a Good Day by Dianne M from Shelter in This Place. It is a good day. Breathe. Take a breath and feel the weight of the world lift from your body. Remember that you survived, no, thrived. Find your deep soul, hold it in your hands, and thank it. Thank that soul for its protection and power. We have survived. We are not the same, yet we have survived, battered and bruised. It is a good day. Breathe. Take a breath and feel the weight of the world lift from your body. Let your heart be filled with peace. Let us each, in our own way, offer thanks to that which is most holy for its protection and love. Amen. And now we'll enjoy the bell choir.
Thank you, members of the bell choir. I love the music of bells, and I have not heard a bell choir in quite some time, so thank you. The title of my sermon this morning, Infinite and Unchangeable Love, Why We Need Universalism Now. When something is described as infinite, it means that the thing is limitless or endless in space, extent, or size. It's impossible to measure or calculate, and that it's a space or quantity that goes on without end. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. When Jackie DeShannon first sang that song in 1965, and it was covered by Dionne Warwick, people all over that heard the lyrics helped push the song up the charts. It reached as high as #1 in Canada and as high as #7 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US. It's a concept whose time has come again. After the events of the last couple of months of 2020 and the first few weeks of 2021, we could all use a little more love right about now. The Universalist Faith, one side of the Unitarian Universalist equation, holds a strong belief that a loving God would not elect only a portion of mankind to be saved, to enjoy salvation, and doom the rest to eternal punishment. Since Hosea Ballou asserted that the law of heaven is love, it would have to be a love that surpassed all others in order to allow every member of humankind, all of us perfectly imperfect human beings, to receive salvation. Turning for a moment to online dictionaries and references, there are definitions for many different kinds of love, ranging from 4 to 8 different types. For the purposes of this sermon, I'm going to stick with 4. Eros, romantic love. Storge, familial love. Philia, brotherly love. And agape, God's divine love. Examples of eros, romantic love, are easy to find and recognize. Just watch your television or listen to popular media, radio, or get online, and you'll see many, many examples of romantic love. There are books and poetry written about it. It's celebrated in the Bible, and the greeting card industry reminds us all the time about how their products can help us express our sense of eros. Romantic love certainly can make for a happier heart, but it isn't the main type of love I believe the Universalists were talking about. Next, let's talk a bit about familial love, storge. It's the love Hosea Ballou wrote of when he said, "A mother's love, in a degree, sanctifies the most worthless offspring." Storge is the love of family, the affectionate bond between parents and children and between siblings. It's a concept we could easily ascribe to our Universalist forebearers, to cherish one's kindred, particularly focused on the tenderness between parents and children. I can clearly remember the surge of love, of storge, that I felt when my son Ronald was born. I didn't want anesthesia. They said it would make the baby dopey. That didn't sound good to me. I'm the child of a nurse. I know what that means. I had all those normal first baby worries. Was I doing the right thing? Was I really ready to be a parent? I tried to keep myself strong and active. I was lifting weights and walking on a regular basis because, if you hadn't noticed, I'm not the littlest girl in the world. So my doctor warned me, and I did my best to keep my pregnancy weight gain down as far as possible. So after much pushing, very little anesthesia because I was strong and I could do it. Don't get yourself sucked into that, ladies who haven't had kids yet. If you need it, you ask for it. So my son was born after much pushing and not an insignificant amount of pain. And the first thought I had was, wow, he's heavy. 9 pounds, 9 ounces. He was a good sized boy. But I looked down at him after the doctor laid him on my stomach and his eyes were wide open. Babies don't usually do that, or so I'd been told. And I looked into those beautiful eyes and we connected. If there'd been a jolt of electricity between us, it could not have been more obvious. And up until that moment, I'd known love, yes, romantic love. And I probably took for granted, to a certain extent, the level of familial love I felt for my parents and my family members, but this was something different. Never had I felt something so intense and committed, so immediate and just perfect. The love I felt would fuel my motivation for years to come, affecting the jobs I took, the education I pursued, even the car I drove. I wanted the absolute best for my little one, and I was determined to protect him at all costs. That same infinite and unchangeable love was there when I gave birth to my daughter, Ariana. Perhaps more so because hers was an unusual pregnancy and a slightly difficult birth. I was going to the doctor on a pretty regular basis. My family history is not great when it comes to health, but I didn't know I was pregnant. And after multiple tests, neither did the doctors. I was almost ready, this close to being ready, to take a clinical trial medication to help dissolve what they thought was a fibroid tumor. My mother and my sister both had them, so it was kind of a foregoing thought that I might have them too. A routine doctor appointment before the onset of the clinical trial turned into the nurse coming to me and said, "Honey, you're not going to qualify for the trial." "But why?" She says, "Honey, you're pregnant." "I'm what?" "You're pregnant." Okay. They start getting me ready for prenatal care, which I've had none of. They're taking a guess at how old they think the baby might be. I'm still trying to recover from the fact that there is a baby. And the next checkup, a few days later, this same nurse comes to me, and she must have thought I was out of my ever-loving mind. She said to me, "Hon, you're in labor." "I'm what?" "You're in labor. You're not going home. You might as well call whoever you need to call and tell them you're not coming back this afternoon." I had taken a half day off of work thinking, okay, doctor appointment, no big deal. So I call my office and I say, guys, I'm not coming back." "What's going on?" "I'm having the baby." "What baby?" "And you're having the baby today?" "Okay." "So I'm in labor." New situation, I'm in labor, okay. As labor continued, the doctor came to me with a worried look on his face. It's never good when your doctor comes in with a worried look on his face. And he tells me that every time I have a contraction, the baby's heart rate is dropping. That's when my heart dropped. And I said, what do we have to do? She was early. She was not supposed to be ready to come yet. But all I could think about was do whatever you have to do to save the baby. I don't care anything else. Don't worry about me. Save the baby. She was born by cesarean section. 8 pounds, 12 ounces of early baby. They told me had she gone to term, she would have been a solid 10-pounder. When I first held her, I whispered to her, "Thank you for coming early." The depth and breadth of that kind of love, familial, yes, and so intense, stays with me to this day. Whatever they had to do to save my baby, that was what I wanted them to do. No thought for myself, only for the safety and life of my baby. That intense, all-consuming love To quote one of my favorite singers, Sade, it dives and it jumps and it ripples like the deepest ocean. Profoundly wise and wonderful poet Maya Angelou wrote, "Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, and penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope." If only that feeling, that kind of love, was indeed universal, what a wonderful world it would be. The next type of love, and arguably one of the hardest to achieve, is agape. Agape love is the highest of the four types, referring to God's immeasurable, incomparable love for humankind. We perfectly imperfect, frustrating, hair-raising, laugh-inducing residents of the planet Earth. Agape love is perfect and unconditional, sacrificial and pure, ongoing, outgoing, and self-sacrificing, given without condition and given unreservedly to those who may be undeserving of it. It's divine and extends beyond emotion. It's an active kind of love and is demonstrated through actions. You don't have to do anything to earn agape love. It's spontaneous and heedless. It doesn't determine beforehand if love will be effective in changing or modifying a person or their circumstances. It's divine and extends beyond emotion. While we can yearn to be capable of this kind of love, I believe it's beyond our reach as finite human beings. There is another kind of love, however, that is very compatible with universalism. We can get closer to a human-capable, universal love when we look deeper at philia, brotherly, I choose to say sibling-friendly love. This is not the same as storge, that familial love. It's for the siblinghood of human beings, love without romantic attraction that can be experienced between individuals or groups of people. It requires that there be a sharing of values and respect between those involved. Philia also describes encompassing love for our fellow human beings, including care and respect and compassion for those in need. Now that is certainly a type of love that we can get behind. That kind of love, leaving no one out, dovetails beautifully with the principle of universal salvation. No soul left behind. All are included. We are all siblings, and our goals should include the cultivation of and expression of that warm and devoted sibling-friendly love for one another. That kind of love should be demonstrated in such a way that it draws others not of the faith toward us. What might it be like if we treated everyone like a sibling? Ideally, it means that we'd want the best for them to achieve their own highest personal potential, and that we'd also keep watch over them to help keep them out of danger. We'd pull their coattails, as my mama would say, to let them know they were in danger or they were going to do something that wasn't okay and help them change direction. In his sermon, Answering the Religious Right with the Big Heart of Universalism, Scott Alexander asserts that there is a place set in creation for every last man, woman, person, and child. A precious, safe place has been set for each and every one of us, period. And it is our human job to respect, protect, and nurture the well-being of all of God's diverse and curious children. The early Universalists said that every human being, no matter how strange or flawed or unlovable or broken or weird they may seem to us, is to be protected, cherished, welcomed, and loved. Respect, protect, and nurture the well-being of all God's diverse and curious children. What a beautiful way to say it, and what a beautiful sentiment and a call to action. I'm not going to fool you and say that it will be easy to do this. It won't be. We, you and I, must cultivate within ourselves a heart that sees our siblings as worthy and precious, deserving of welcome, protection, and worthy of nurturing. We cannot give up on each other. We are all we have. The Universalist principles of inclusion, optimism, compassion, and hope must hold sway. Even when times get tough and it feels like we're rolling that enormous stone up a hill, we cannot give up. Hosea Ballou and his contemporaries preached that gospel, that all would be included, that we should be optimistic about the future and the condition of humankind, and that we should extend compassion, not just to those we agree with or who hold views like ours, but also to those who we disagree with, who shout instead of discussing, and with whom common ground seems impossible to find. We must not be silent. We must lift our voices and proclaim our values. We must proclaim universalist values and describe the faith as one that sees human beings as wonderful and part of one human family. We must assert and reassert that division, fear, and exclusion is not our way. That every individual of the world, be they gender neutral, gender fluid, or whatever shape their gender expression takes, no matter their racial identity, their financial status, their political persuasion, or level of accomplishment, they are all children of the Most High, one who is valuable simply because they are, and that there is a place for them at the table of universalism. Quoting Scott Alexander again, we must be evangelists, unashamed, bold, willing to state publicly and talk up our faith, and hold the line against mean-spirited and hateful messages that would have us believe that those residents of this country would rather be at war with each other than working together are the majority. They are not. Now, don't let that word evangelist throw you off. Call yourself whatever you'd like. I call myself a cheerleader for my faith. And I want you to know that this is our time. The challenging circumstances we've lived through and continue to live with have made more and more people search for something more in their lives. We, you and I, can bring them the good news. We can let them know that something more exists. We can introduce them to the principles of universalism, inclusion, optimism, and hope, and universal salvation. And we can tell them that there is a place at the table for them. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Yep, there we go. Lots of moving parts today. Shining over golden land.
Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention this morning. It has been my honor to worship with you today.